I am taking away time from playing Monster Hunter to make this episode. It's not healthy. I've been in withdrawal since Friday, since I couldn't play until Sunday night. And that might seem like a little bit of time, only like a tiny bit of time, but that was absolute hell for those, like, for that Saturday, that was hell. And for like that Friday night, and then most of Sunday. Uh, yeah, anyways, my name is Mercury. Welcome to this brand new episode of Media FA. When today I am talking about Jurassic World Chaos Theory Season 2. This season came out ages ago. 5 months ago. Came out 5 months ago. I know when it came out. I'm alone. Yeah, I'm also alone. I forgot about that part about the intro. Anyways, I am taking my time away from playing Monster Hunter to make this episode, so you better be fucking grateful. Okay, I'm kidding. So, Jurassic World Chaos Theory, which is the... I guess if you're listening to this, you might already know, but it's a sequel series to Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous, which we are still covering. We're only missing 2 more seasons, but we are still trotting our way through the last few seasons of Camp Cretaceous. When will the season 5 review come out? Season 4 review come out, sorry. This year, hopefully. When will season 5 review come out? Fucking hell. You better hope for it. It's not gonna come out for a bit, let me tell you that. But what I can, I guess, guarantee is that we are gonna be making an episode on Chaos Theory Season 3 fairly soon. Not like this year at least. I would say this year at least, because it's coming out April 3rd. Yeah, so it's a bit later. I mean, not later, but it's a bit. It took quite a bit to get to season 3. We didn't get confirmation until January that season 3 was happening, but now it is, and well, yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So, yeah, and I wanted to catch up on season 2 at least, and I did. And also, just because it's been a while, it's been a while. We have Rebirth coming out this year. I got to the Chaos Theory Season 1 pretty fast, I will say, but this one I took a bit. Hopefully, there is, Jesus fucking Christ. And honestly, I really do want to get to Season 3 as quickly as possible, because there's a lot of stuff coming out in April. Let me tell you. Tonight, I don't know when this episode's coming up, but today is March the 4th. This episode is late. Like, I should mention that this episode is late. It was supposed to come out like 2 weeks ago, around then, but it's coming out now. Hopefully, with a bunch of other episodes coming alongside it. Not the same day, but definitely around the same time. But yeah, like Daredevil's coming out tonight. I think 10 p.m. for me. But yeah. And also in April, like that's the only thing in March is coming out. There might be some trailers and all that stuff. But specifically in what do we call it? In April, in April, there's a lot of stuff. Same day is the Devil May Cry series. Then the day after is a Minecraft movie, which, yikes! Not really excited for that one. Then I'm pretty sure there's really nothing until I think maybe until late April, where we'll get Andor Season 2, which the trailer came out. We're not gonna cover it, it's too late, there's too much stuff, but yeah. Trailer for that is out, and I watched it. It looks pretty cool. I like Andor a lot, and it's one of the best series Star Wars has put out in quite a bit of time. So I'm excited to see how they wrap up the series in season 2. There's your little mini Andor season 2. I guess anticipate. I guess trailer episode. There's the Until Dawn movie coming out at the end of April. There's probably some other stuff. I think Daredevil ends in April as well. I don't know how that's gonna work, but I know that there's. I think mid-season is gonna be 2 episodes. So again, interesting. It's not gonna be completely like one. I mean, it's a premiere. It's 2 episode premiere tonight, and then apparently like a. And then like I think let me check. Is it here? I have 2 pages on Like a Dragon Yakuza. By the way, I am gonna watch like one of the next modern type episode will be Like a Dragon Yakuza. I'm currently watching it. I'm halfway through. It's only 6 episodes, which is a problem. But it's only 6 episodes, and I'm going through it. I'll hopefully get that out soon, but I don't know. Maybe. Let's check what I was going for. Daredevil, right? The release schedule is weird for this show. It's 9 episodes, so it's one of the longer MCU series. But first 2 are coming out March 4th. Then 3 and 4 are coming up like consequently. They're coming up like normally like a week after, and then the next week. But then 5, 5, and 6 are coming out the same day. So if like it follows this schedule, that means that episode. I'm guessing they're gonna do a 2 episode, a 2 episode like launch for the finale. That means that episode. That means that episode 7 comes out on the 1st, and then 8 and 9 will come out on the 8th. Yeah, it's a bit weird. It is a bit weird, but yeah, not the most ideal, but it is weird. Anyways, Chaos Theory season 2. So let me just sort of we did upload the season 1 review on YouTube because we were putting up episodes on YouTube by that point. I mean, it was a year in, but whatever. Like we put out episodes, and so I'm just gonna if you didn't watch that, I'll recap what my thoughts were. I thought the series was good. I think it had a lot of problems, but it wasn't like incompetently written, and it didn't venture into it didn't venture into the territory that we left off with in Camp Cretaceous. At least that tone, where we're gonna get to it in the later season in the later seasons of Camp Cretaceous, but when we get to them. But the later seasons were not the best. I feel like I mentioned this I think in the review for Camp Cretaceous season 3, but it feels like the show was meant to end on season 3, but they needed, but they were I guess they were greenlit. The 4 and 5 were greenlit already, and by that point they had already wrapped everything up because really they had to kind of make things for in the finale. It feels the finale. I mentioned it there, but the finale for Camp Cretaceous season 3 feels tacked on because they finish off the Scorpius in like the last in like the in I think either penultimate or the one before penultimate episode of the season. They finish off Scorpius there. Everything is done, and then we get into Jesus, and then we get into the plot line with the Fallen Kingdom tie-in. It it feels like it was meant to end there. That's when the series was, at least like for me, was like, okay, it's wrapping up here, but it didn't wrap up there. It We had those two more episodes that focused on uh that focused on the Fallen Kingdom tie-in. So I'm going. I think I made the assumption there, but I'm gonna guess that that the series was extended. That season 3 was extended, and season 4 and 5 were not planned to be made until they saw maybe how successful the show was, and decided to just make it and just make 4 and 5. Episode season 3 ending at episode 8 or whenever they beat the Scorpius Rex would line up with the other seasons. You know, it says here that it was episode 8. Like, it was just, that's when the show was gonna end, and we were probably gonna get some other stuff in episode 8. But then they go back, and then they go, and then they leave again. So I'm gonna guess that it was meant to be those 8 episodes, but then I guess like it was a pretty successful show, so they renewed it for 4 and 5, and the writers had to make up why 4 and 5 were gonna happen. So they make those two episodes to coincide with Fallen Kingdom because they wanted to do that, and I guess it would make sense timeline wise, and then decided to just tie it in, make some new plot lines or like character conflicts that they can resolve in 4 and 5, and just let it rip. Because by episode 8, everything was nearly tied or not, and the series could end, but it didn't. So yeah, and it's something I don't want to happen to Chaos Theory. I'm probably like way off tangent right now, but that's something I don't want to happen to Chaos Theory because we have season 3 again, season 3 coming out in April. I hope that it's not going in the same direction that Camp Cretaceous went, because at least here I think that they probably planned it out at least well enough, and I think this plotline could actually serve 4 seasons. That's what they're going for here. So it being 4 because we actually have a 4th season coming out. They sort of soft confirmed that, I guess accidentally confirmed that. In like a toy fair, some guy said, "Oh yeah, we're getting there's a season coming out before Rebirth, and then one after." It's like, well, there's season 4. So I'm guessing that I'm guessing that that they probably planned it out to be 4 seasons. I know something that aged poorly in the season 1 episode. I said that, oh, I want to be there's no second season. There's no second season being like currently greenlit, and then legit the day of, I think the day either of upload or of me recording, it might have been same time. They confirmed season 2. I was like, God damn it! But here at least I waited a little to see if they would confirm season 3, and they have, and we're gonna get this out before then. So yeah. But yeah, I just thought of. I'll talk about this in the plot really. But yeah, I'm hoping that Chaos Theory doesn't fall into that same into those same problems that Ken Cretaceous ran into, especially kind of hot off the heels from that show. Because again, I don't know when we got the first. Oh, we got like the first like real teaser in 2023. It was like a year later after Camp Cretaceous ended. I thought they would leave it off there, but no. Yeah, I hope that they haven't said anything about season 5. I'm personally thinking they're gonna end it off at 4. I don't see why extending it any further. But yeah. Anyways, that was I don't even know what I was originally talking about. Uh, but yeah, I hope that doesn't really fall into that, and I'm guessing they're gonna tie it into Dominion somehow, like they did with Fallen Kingdom, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure how they would do it in like a natural. I mean, they already did. They already did do it actually. I guess they already did tie it into Dominion, and so the Camp Cretaceous. But again, that was part of like Camp Cretaceous did tie it into Dominion, but again, those were in season 4, and 5, which were the tacked on seasons. Anyways, that's that is to say, let's go back to the review. Actually, season Chaos Theory season 1, like I said, had a lot of flaws, but it was still a good season. So Chaos Theory have to surpass that. Obviously, season 2 had to surpass that, while also not falling into the trap that uh not falling into the trap that the later seasons of Camp Cretaceous went into. So did it do well? Let's find out, I guess. Uh, First up is the animation slash action. Uh, I think the animation actually is very good in this in this season. I feel like it's even better than season 1. There's a lot of really good cinematography here, and also a lot of really good looking shots and animation and all that. Like, it looks really impressive, and I enjoy that a lot. Like, I really did. I really like that about the show. It feels like a step up from season 1, and especially Camp Cretaceous. Camp Cretaceous towards the end, and a lot of times, a lot of times throughout its few seasons, like season 3 started it started and it began, but 4 and 5 especially liked to reuse assets, and 4 and 5 are most guilty of this because it was set entirely on Metacorp Island, or what the hell it was called. So they reused assets a lot, and it was just kind of like 4 and 5. If you didn't watch them more than once, which I haven't, and you either don't remember it much or don't, it's I guess a very specific like part of people, but yeah, what I'm trying to say is that seasons 4 and 5 really blur together, like they really do, because they're so they're so they connected. Like, obviously the seasons should be connected, but they're so connected. They use a lot of the same stuff that it just feels like the same. The only thing I know, like, there's like a few things I kind of know are either, oh, that's from season 4 and season 5. But if you show me a clip and I'm like from random ass episode and you told me when's this from, I could honestly probably tell it. But sometimes maybe you show me like a season 5 clip, like random ass one. I was like, I don't even fucking know. Usually I'm very good with that stuff. I'm like, but sometimes it's just like I wouldn't know which one of the seasons that would even be. Or at least it take me a while to find out. to like remember. But yeah. So back. Let's stop shitting on the episode seasons 4 and 5. Back to Chaos Theory. The animation here is very good. Like it doesn't reuse a lot of stuff, and that's because we are not in a. Something I really like about this is that we are in a completely different environment that uh than we saw in season 1. We are still in a jungle. That's like we are in a jungle that doesn't change yet, but it's completely different. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff, moving stuff here. A lot of different facilities, a lot of different stuff. We have the Dubai section. We have the breeding facility. Uh, the entire Senegal, like Senegal sections and all that. Like there's a lot of environments here. There's a lot of reuse stuff. Uh, a lot of new dinosaurs that we didn't see that either that much of, or we didn't see until this season. So again, very cool. And honestly, it does feel fresh. It doesn't feel. It doesn't feel like the same thing, and you can tell, you can tell which episodes, or at least like which scenes are from which season, like easily tell. And again, energy quality is really good. The dinosaur action and the action in the show proper is really creative. I'll talk about it more about the dinosaurs later because I want to. But the action in this show is really creative. The whole like the final section, which this show does actually fucking end in like some well, which is a problem I think a lot of Camp Cretaceous had, was that they didn't know how to end. I feel like a lot of that show. I know, God damn it, I'm back in this hole again. But in that show, I felt like it didn't know how to end. Like it had a yeah, it just didn't know how to end itself. So it just kind of fell into like trying to do things like to wrap up. Like, I don't even remember the ending of season 4. Obviously, 5 is the series finale, which yeah, you're gonna know how that ends, but like a random ass like season 4, I don't remember. I do remember. I do remember how season 4 ends. I'm a fake fan. I'm a fake hater. Sorry, I'm a fake hater. Season 4 ends with them being found by Kenji, not Kenji, Daniel Khan, in that big reveal, which, god damn it, uh, I hated that. I hated the release schedule for Camp Cretaceous normal, because it was September 18th, then January 22nd. It was like a 4-month period between seasons. Between is it 4 months? Am I going crazy? Yeah, no, it is 4 months. It's December to January, and January to May. That's 4 months. So theoretically speaking, fucking season season 4 and 5 should have come out. Like season 5 should have still come out in 2022 in that schedule. No wait, no, yeah, it would. But season 4 would come out in September, and the 5 in January again. But it didn't happen. Instead, the show took a 6-month hiatus, no, 7-month hiatus, and then released its next season in December, and then did it again for season 5 in July. So they doubled their time, and I'm guessing that's because they had to make new environments. I will never get it for season 5. That 5 uses a lot of stuff from 4. And 5, I think, uses everything from 4. I will never understand it for 5. But for 4, I kind of get it. They have to do new environments. new new stuff, new characters. Like I get why that like new like I guess like I don't know how to call it hot props like new props for the characters and animation to use. Like they had a lot of stuff to do for season 4. Like I get why it took that long. However, five was like I five I am pretty sure was made in a week. That's what 5 feels like. It really was made in a week. It feels like it was gonna be part of 4, but then it changed its mind. Which honestly, I don't know how I would have gotten it through a 23 episode season, but whatever. I gotta pull myself back from hating on those last 2 seasons, man. It's just that Camp Cretaceous was a really good show. It wasn't a really good show. It was a good show for a good while, and then 4 and 5 just kind of shut on all that. But anyways, actually, like, going back to that, to go back to what I was talking about. Yeah, I think a lot of the action in this season is very creative. All the animation is very good. It's definitely a step forward, a step up from anything that's produced before then. And yeah, no, I hope that season 3 carries over. I've only seen pictures of it, and honestly, I think the pictures look very good. I like the. I'm not sure if that's a. If that's a redesign for the Ceratosaurus, but it looks to be. It looks different. I know we never saw a. I don't know. Is that? No, it's not. It's not. It's not a redesign. I know. Like, there's a lot of different stuff, but again, it uses a lot of. There you go. Only three things, but yeah. Yes, the Ceratosaurus. Like it looks good. Like the show actually looks good. But yeah, back to here. All right, so that's I think enough talking about animation and animation and all that. Let's talk about the characters. There's a lot of characters. How much is this? 8. There's 8 characters. This brings me back to Ruby. I'll talk about them briefly. Hopefully as brief as I can. Yeah, Darius. I think Darius is usually one of the bigger characters that they have here. Have a lot of stuff. It's not really. It's not like it doesn't do much because I have complaints about fucking character here. I'll talk about it later. But I have some complaints with one of the characters here, and it's not like Darius. It's not that Darius doesn't do much. It's just that he's kind of. It's mostly instead of actually having stakes in the plot, he's mostly just having character moments and interactions and all that. Uh, and that's mostly what he does in the season, and he leads them all. He leads them all. He takes away the second sources from the Senegal family for after it's Zaina's family. Uh, yeah, he does. But he does stuff in the show. Like I'm not going to deny that, and he does important stuff in the show. But it's it's not the most important things. That's most of the important stuff here, and most of the important character moments are given to Kenji, Ben, Brooke, and Brooklyn. That's who got the spotlight this season. But yeah, I think Darius again, like he's fine in the season. A lot of useful stuff, and he does mostly do. He's not out of character. He doesn't have like a crazy arc in the season, But I feel like he's fine. He's really fine. He's just not the focus, and that's fine. Like there are, he is the main character, but there are other protagonists here that we can talk about instead. So I want to bring up Kenji, and this season really put an emphasis on Kenji. He's heading straight first into danger. He's acting sort of weirdly, and I like that. I feel like um Genji isn't usually a character that does a lot of reckless things. And I like that here that they sort of at least try to explore how his mindset works after seeing his father die. Seeing how he's sort of like, I'm not sure I forgot if they explain in the show, but like him trying to put himself first before others so nobody else dies. I feel like it's a very interesting thing, and him like still feeling bad about Brooklyn because fucking hell. But and I like to see like at least some more aggressive sides of him, side of him. That we see here when he finds out that Ben has been lying to everyone about Brooklyn being alive. Like I like that there's character conflict here. Sometimes that's something we sometimes see in Camp Cretaceous and Chaos Theory. I think Chaos Theory does it a bit better. But I think season 1 Chaos Theory fell into the problem that Camp Cretaceous did, where the conflicts are sort of shallow and they don't go anywhere. But in here, I feel like it's a lot better. A lot better, and it makes sense for the characters, and not something that just spontaneously happens. It's been set up a lot. So I like that about the season. That there is sort of it all comes to a boiling point, and I like that about Kenji's character and all that. Like I do appreciate that they've written it that way. And next up is Ben, the all-star character for the season. He's giving it the most importance, at least aside from Brooklyn. But Ben is giving some of the most importance. He's the one Brooklyn has been communicating with. He's telling that secret. He really wants to tell them, but he doesn't. And Genji gets mad at him. Obviously, I think that's very much in character. Ben still not wanting to, like, at least like not wanting to hurt, at least like not hurt them, but keep them away from danger. Makes sense. And everyone sees how he's what he's trying to do, sees his sort of erratic behavior, and you know, I like what they did with Ben here. I like that he's sort of part of this of the character conflict that, and knowing as Kenji, and the fact that they sort of end up they end up a lot of times having to deal with each other, especially towards the end. And we see always like little other adventures and how his actions do affect the group, and how all of this does kind of also interact with Kenji's character arc, or like conflict here. And I do really like that about all of this. I think Kenji and Ben really take the spotlight here. Next up is Yasmina. I don't have much to say about her. I feel like there's some missed potential here. She's the one I think does the second least in this entire season. She does have that little like segment towards the end where she gets left behind. I feel like I feel like they should have done more with that. Like at least have some sort of conflict with the other group, with the group. But we don't really see that. She doesn't really get mad at them. She just kind of forgives them, I guess. Or he's like doesn't like come to the. He's very quickly comes to the understanding that it was left on accident, which I guess it makes sense. But I feel like they could have explored that a bit more, and they just didn't. But I think Yasmin does fine here. The character I think does the least in this entire show is Sammy. Sammy does absolutely nothing. of actual value that other characters aren't also doing. Sammy is a bit wasted in this season, and I hope she gets her time in the spotlight. She was, I know Yasmina was given hers in season one, of all like the stuff there, but Sammy really was like this has been given the short end of the stick for a very long time in both Camp Cretaceous and in the season and in Chaos Theory. So I hope that soon we get at least something, at least anything, to give Sammy a little bit more purpose and not just doing things that other characters are doing or just sit by and like join other characters. Like she doesn't have anything to really contribute to any situation, but she's just kind of there, and they sometimes invite her to do stuff because she has to. She's there. Next up is Zaina, and she's a new addition for the show, and I thought that she was gonna be like this new companion that they would have. It's like a kid like the like a new companion they would have throughout all their adventures, and in this season she's kind of like that. But I like that she isn't complete, like so childish. If she can hold off against her own, like, even to as her own character, I do appreciate that. I think that they didn't go in a trope into making a trope of her just being the replacement for the fact that like at least like the like replay like putting like a character that like the child audience can attach themselves to, since this show is for kids. This show is a bit weird conceptually. Will I I will say it's conceptually it's a bit weird. It's a kids show. Usually kids shows, or usually shows targeted to kids, usually have other kids as their protagonists, because it's like it's things that children can attach themselves to and can relate to, and that's what Cassidy did, and Cassidy Cambridge did. But I will say that there are other kids shows that also have adults as their protagonists, but mainly those are shows that are meant to teach lessons, not have not have like a narrative, really, not have a big narrative. Now, Chaos Theory is not that it doesn't do that. It's just that it goes and takes all of these all these characters that were kids in the first season and puts them into adulthood and gives them very, very mature theming. Hell, Brooklyn loses an arm. There is like, and it's not. It is not shy about that fact. It shows exactly how she lost, and not like anything, really, like not anything too graphic, but it does show that she lost it, and it shows the severed arm, even though it's not like it doesn't look severed, but they show the severed arm. It is kind of brutal. It's TV. It like, and the most ironic part is it's TVY7, which is like PG, G maybe of the television format, and it's so wild. This because like this show conceptually, to like two children doesn't really work. So I don't know, like it conceptually, this show shouldn't work and should only be for mature audiences, but they still sort of targeted to kids. I mean, the whole franchise is sort of targeted to kids, so they can sell more dinosaur toys because whatever, right? But yeah, what I was going for to say now is that they didn't go into the trope of making her the child audience self-insert slash like the character they can relate to and attach to. That's not what they did here, and I do appreciate that. I thought she would be. I thought she would be here to stick around, just to have some a character for the kids to relate to, but they didn't do that, and it kind of become very apparent in this show, in this season, especially their uh with what they showed here, with what they were allowed to show, because again they show the Raptor bite not biting, but they show the imminent and uh implicated severing of Brooklyn's arm. So yeah, they show the events like leading up to that. It's kind of wild. It's kind of wild what they did here. But Zaina, I feel like was handled well. I do like her as a character, and I'm surprised that they sort of let her go after this season. She's not here to stay all that much. So I do I do like that. I do like that about her character. She's not here to, like, at least how they wrote her. She's not here to stay. She's here for this season, and that's really about it. So yeah. Next up is Brooklyn, which I think is one of the characters given the most importance here. We finally see her after the end of the last season, and honestly, I like what they did with her. It gets a bit weird, but I like what they did with her as a character and what she's trying to do, and how like far she's willing to go. Like I like that. I think a lot of people were theorizing that she was going to be the broker, which wouldn't make sense. And I like that they didn't go in that obvious direction. That I feel like they would have gone if it was Camp Cretaceous. If this was written in like the same way as Camp Cretaceous, because I think Camp Cretaceous went in the direction that like in the most predictable direction. And some of that bled over to the first season, but it feels like here they didn't do that, and I appreciate that really. And I would with Brooklyn here. It's still sort of the same one, but she's not afraid to get her hands dirty. And I really like what they did with her character here. I think it's very interesting. And even like how even the conflict she has with the other characters, the fact that she does want to stop the broker, but she has to get she has to sort of get into that business and has to betray her friends, even though they want the same thing. So I think that's very interesting. I like that sort of conflict here. And I hope that we see more of her. I think we are going to see more of her now that she's back and she was given a lot of the spotlight here. So yeah. The last character I want to talk about is Soyona. This is the character that sort of ties into this is the character that makes this show tie into Dominion. And I liked her addition here. She doesn't really do much in Dominion proper, but I like how she's handled here. I like how we see how she has different ventures and how she acts, and more of her in general. It's a bit different from what it is in Dominion, but I do really like that. I thought she was an original character at first. At first, I didn't recognize her, but I quickly learned who she was when she said her name was Soyona. So I mean, I didn't recognize her immediately, but I got it. I got it. So yeah. Next up, I want to talk about is the dinosaurs. Starting off with the new one, Majungasaurus. I think its model looks a bit weird, to be completely honest. But I like what they did here. I like that they played into the cannibalism of the Majungasaurus, even though a lot of dinosaurs were cannibals. Majungasaurus is one that is proven to be, and also does it very frequently, at least in the fossil record. So interesting that. So it's cool that they brought that in there. And let's get a bit of spotlight here and there. Is it this? No, it's not the one that fights the hippo. But we do get like a Majungasaurus versus Suchomimus fight. That's very cool. Speaking of Sukumamas, I want to talk about the Sukumamas next. We saw it in the last in the finale of the last season, but here we see it fully take the spotlight, and cool to see more Spinosaurids in the series in the franchise proper. Obviously, Sukumamas has been a part of the franchise ever since the Jurassic World website put it in there as like as a canon species. But this design is not from that. It is a different design. Uh, it's a lot more, I guess, baryonyx based. So yeah, but I like what they did with Suquamis here. It's a bit weird that I guess that it fights a hippo. I think there's an entire action sequence. Like what I mentioned, there's an entire action sequence where they have to fight off a hippo, and it's like really weird. It's a really weird, but I like what they sort of do with it, where the Sukumamis fights the hippo off and they kills it and all that. Like yeah, I like that. And also like oh yeah, the Majungasaurus like in the lines thing, even though it sort of they sort of do things like that, they sort of don't. It's a bit weird, but yeah, I like that we saw like real animals. So like, well, I mean, Sukumamas and Majungasaurus were real animals, but we saw these extant animals fighting off the extinct animals, and I like that sort of interaction. We don't really see that a lot within the franchise. Next up is the Baryonyx, the blind Baryonyx, or well, not the blind, the eyeless Baryonyx. I feel like it was really cool what they did with this one in the finale and with the Atrociraptor. Also, the Atrociraptor is pretty cool. I think the clicking and it learning the clicking, or like the snapping, it clicks. But yeah, learning to click to control the Baryonyx is cool, but a very unrealistic. It's a this a version of this the suspension of this the amount of disbelief you have to just accept that is a bit is immense. The suspension of is it the suspension of disbelief? Yeah, the suspension of disbelief. The amount of it you have to just kind of ignore that, like to just accept that, is gigantic. But yeah, but I like them both and how they work together, and especially towards the end with like the whole dark hallways and all that. It's really cool. It's really cool. I think they did a really good job with the especially with like all the ones they put the spotlight on. I feel like they're really cool. All the other ones here were really well made. So let's talk about the plot for a little for a bit here. I don't think I have much to say. Uh, what I was gonna talk about earlier, my sort of fears that were kind of that were disproven by me watching the show. I think I said it in the trailer episode, but I was fearful that we were going to go to another island so soon. That's what I thought was gonna happen. When we go to another island, it was just gonna be fucking like not Biosyn, Gorb Island, or whatever the fuck. But we didn't do that, and I feel like it was very cool, and actually, it furthered the world building a lot with us having with us actually going to Senegal instead. I feel like that furthered the world building a lot, and also we saw a lot of a lot more interesting things like how dancers interact with people in other parts of the world that aren't just America, which is what we saw in which is which is what we saw in things like Battle of Big Rock and Dominion, even like in just like the beginning of it. That's what we saw. And I like how they furthered the world building here and how we see how our different countries and cultures treat dinosaurs. I feel that's really cool. Uh, most of the most of the actual conflict comes from the characters, aside from the actual story. There's not a lot there. There is a plot, but it's usually not the biggest thing. It here it's not like the most fleshed out plot ever, but I feel like talk about it. I think it's paced well. These seasons are 10 episodes, and it feels like they were made to be, like they were written to be 10 episodes. Like it feels well structured, really. I feel like it feels well structured. I like it. I like the pacing here a lot. I like how it like I like the structure here. The structure here. I don't have a lot of problems with it. Most of my problems come from the fact that the characters don't get to do much. And this show focuses a lot on the characters and prides itself in its like character writing, and that's what most of it is. But yeah, no, I was thoroughly surprised, and I feel like this show, at least this season, really set the bar. I don't know if high, but it definitely raised the bar for what this show can be and what this show may become. Like I feel like the show has a bright future for it, and that wasn't even planned. That was just a section I was gonna make. Yeah, going to the future. I talked way too little about the plot. Whatever. Going to the future, season 3 has a lot of interesting things to discuss. Obviously, I don't know where we'll go after this. We'll see what Brooklyn does with Sayona, and we'll see how deep, how far she will go to uncover the truth. Kind of unfortunate that we kind of know where it ends. Sayona it stays around and goes to Biosyn instead. And I'm saying we know it's kind of unfortunate because we know that the Chaos Theory is set before Dominion, and that Universal did not let them go past Dominion. It is before Dominion, and that's when all the seasons will take place. So unfortunate that we are not going to be getting anything beyond that, and we kind of know how it ends. With Brooklyn not being there and Sayona being there, so we'll see how they wrap up the show. I want to see. I'm interested. I'm interested to see how where the Nublar 6 go next, and how they're gonna further the plot in that direction. Since, well, I'm guessing they're gonna have to recuperate from the fact that Brooklyn has left them officially. So we'll see how all of that goes. But aside from that, I feel like the show's a very bright future that this season specifically set. And to conclude, I feel like this season is a very big step forward. It has a little bit of missed potential in some areas, but overall, it has great animation, great action, good character moments, good conflict, and just good dinosaurs. And overall, it's a great season of the Jurassic World animated series. It's one of I think the best season we ever gotten. So that's why Chaos Theory season 2 goes in the A tier. We'll see if it gets better from here. I wouldn't mind it staying here, but this is where the bar is. A tier. This is where season 2 ended it off with. So yeah, hopefully season 3 and 4 deliver. So yeah, what did you guys think about the second season of Chaos Theory? Leave in the comments below. All of our socials on the description. And if you like if you like this episode, you can follow us on Spotify or rate us. That probably make me sound like a fucking fossil because rating was a thing in YouTube. But rate us on Spotify if you want. And if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe if you want to see more. Like if you liked the episode. Share it around if you feel inclined to. And yeah, is that all the fun YouTube stuff I gotta mention? I think so. Yeah, I don't like to do it, but yeah, apparently it's good for growth. So I'll say it. Anyways, that's about it. See ya.